Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Lindsay, and today's video is going to be a video on formula feeding moms, all the tips and tricks that I have learned throughout the last couple months that I have been exclusively formula feeding, because I definitely have learned a lot and I don't want you guys to mess up like I have. So if you are a formula feeding mom or you just want to learn more about your options, just keep watching. Okay, so tip number one. I had no idea about this at the beginning, but I want you guys to know that you have to use distilled water for your baby's bottles. I had no idea, nobody ever told me, so I was using tap water until, I don't know, she was like 2 months old, and I did like pump and supplement with formula, but I didn't know that you were supposed to use like distilled water versus like purified water or tap water. You can also boil water on the stove and let it completely cool and then use it, but it's just easier for me to buy a $1 gallon of water at the store than to boil water, let it cool, put it in a container, put it in wherever, like in the garage. So I just buy distilled water. My second tip would be to get a bottle warmer. When I was first formula supplementing, my milk hadn't come in yet, so I was pumping and trying to get my milk to come in, and I had these little ready-made formulas ready, and I just kind of warmed them up in a cup with running hot water over the container. But a bottle warmer definitely is a huge lifesaver, especially if you are going to be formula feeding till they are 1. I have a really cheap one. It is a Munchkin one. I will link everything that I am talking about down below in the description box so that you guys can go check it out yourself. I really like it. It's super affordable and it works really, really good. If you are willing to spend more money, there is the baby Brezza, which is like a Keurig for baby formula, and it just, you tell it how many ounces you want, and it just kind of spits it out and it's warm, ready to go. But those are way more expensive, so I have the more affordable one that is Munchkin brand, and I absolutely love it. It is really, really good. Do not use the microwave for warming up your bottles, because it will create hot spots in the milk and that can burn your baby's mouth. Also, when you are warming your baby's bottles, please check the temperature on your wrist. If it is hot to the touch on the back of your wrist, like right here, then it is too hot for your baby. It doesn't have to be scalding hot, it just has to be warm, because obviously breast milk is at body temperature. So that's kind of the goal that you're getting at, is just kind of body temperature. But do not feed it to your child unless you test it on your wrist, because you don't want to burn them. So my next tip is to have a lot of bottles. I have 6 bottles of the kind that I use now. There are different sizes, different brands. The brand that I really like is Tommee tippee brand. It is the most similar to the actual breast, is what I have found. I don't know if that's true, if there's better ones on the market or not, but that is the research I have found. So when I was trying to get her to breastfeed after my milk came in, I wanted to have breast-like nipples for the bottles. So I use the anti-colic Tommee tippee bottles. They have worked really good. She never had colic, so I don't know if that is due to the bottles or if it is due to her just not being colicky, but I really, really like them. There also is 2 sizes to these bottles. There's a 5 ounce, which is really little, and then there's a 9 ounce. If I were to do it over again, I'd just get a few of the small ones, because it does show the 1 ounce line, and your baby obviously is not gonna drink more than 1 ounce when they're really, really little. So I would just get a few of those, and then once they start eating 2 ounces, just buy more of the big bottles, because the big bottles start at 2 ounces on their like little measuring thing on the side. So I definitely really like the Tommee tippee bottles. Another thing that I had no idea about before bottle feeding is that they have different nipple sizes. Tommee tippee has a 0-month one, a 3-month one, and a 6-month one. They are different flow rates, so there's like the super, super slow, and then there's like a medium and then a faster flow. Maddie is on the 2nd stage, and I don't even know if I'll go up to the 6th stage because she's starting to eat solids anyway, but I mean, she drinks milk also, so I don't know, I might get the next bottle up. But she used to get really frustrated with the slow nipples when she was 2.5 months old, I believe. So we got the medium flow, and those have been working really well for her. So if you didn't know, there's different nipple sizes for bottles, and you just have to buy, they're like a little insert that you just pop out and pop in, so you don't have to rebuy bottles. All bottles that I have noticed come with the smallest, like the slowest flow nipple, so that you're ready to go when you have a newborn. The next tip that I have is to pre-make your bottles, or to use a bottle, like a formula pitcher. I typically just measure out my bottles, pour them all into the correct amount, so I can just take them, put them in my bottle warmer, warm it up, and it's the quickest way to get the formula in the baby's mouth and in their tummy. But a lot of people will do a formula pitcher where they'll make enough formula for the whole day and just pour a bottle when the baby's ready. But I would definitely suggest pre-making formula, so you're not scooping and pouring water and warming it up all right when the baby's hungry and crying. Have it ready just so you can pop it in and get that baby fed. Another tip that I didn't know before I was formula feeding is that formula is only good for 24 hours. So do not pre-make too much formula, or you will be throwing a lot of it out, and formula is not cheap, so don't make too much. Another couple things I didn't know: formula, once it is warmed up, is only good for 2 hours. Out of the fridge, you warm it up 2 hours. If a baby has eaten off of it, it's only good for 1 hour, because the bacteria from their mouth start to form in the bottle. So it's only good for 1 hour after they've actually eaten on the bottle. Do not put it back in the fridge. The nurse at the hospital told me I could put it back in the fridge and use it again. Do not do that. It's not good for them. When switching baby's formula, because the formula shortage, you might have to switch your formula. I know the formula shortage is kind of gone, but you always should do a 2 scoop to 1 scoop ratio. So like 4 ounces of your old formula to 2 ounces of the new formula for 3 days, and then you can swap over to the new formula completely. You can do a 2 to 1 ratio for 3 days and then just completely switch over to the new formula. Another thing that I have learned is to have a really good drying rack for your bottles that has lots of little hooks and stuff, so that you can dry lots of things like binkies, nipples, different bottles, different everything. And you also should have a wash tub. Fill it with hot water and soap. Let your bottles soak for a little bit, and that will help them to be easier to clean. But have a good drying rack. I have 2 drying racks down below. I have one with more it's a 2-tiered one. I have one that's similar to this, and then I have a space-saving one that's just an upright one that has, I think it has like 9 hooks and then a little basket on top. But I have those linked down below. Along with cleaning your bottles, you need to sanitize them. How you sanitize them is you boil water, put all your bottle pieces all separated. So if they have the anti-colic ones have a round piece and then a long straw looking piece and then a star piece, you have to separate all of those, throw them in boiling water. Some people say it's good if you throw them in there for 30 seconds. Other people say you have to leave it in there for 3 minutes. I typically just do until I feel good about it. I usually wait 1 to 2 minutes, but you have to sanitize them so that you get all the gunk off. Because sometimes, obviously you need to sanitize everything, like their binkies, once in a while too. Also, you can sanitize them in the microwave. I have a microwave sanitizer linked down in the description, and that is obviously a lot quicker, but you should sanitize your bottles and binkies and everything before you give them to your child or feed them with the bottles. So always have them sanitized before using them, and you should sanitize them probably once every 2 weeks is what I would say. Okay, the last thing that I have learned and tested and tried different things is how to make a formula bottle on the go. When you're making a formula bottle, you are supposed to pour the water first and then put the formula scoops on top of the water so that you have enough water to formula ratio, because it's not good to have too much of either one. It can mess with their kidneys, is what I've heard. So what I have learned is you need to have however many bottles. I typically take 2 bottles with me when I go out. I take 2 empty bottles. I'll take one of the empty bottles, I'll fill it with enough water for both bottles. Like she's drinking 5 ounces, so I usually fill it with one with 10 ounces, warm that water up. I'll put it in a thermos, a like baby water bottle, so that it stays warm for longer, because my daughter does not like to eat cold bottles. Then I will have separate containers with pre-scoop formula so that I can just pour the water out of the thermos into the bottle so that I can know how much water, dump the formula in, and then shake it up and you're ready to go. I have formula containers for the go linked down below, and then I have a mini water bottle. That is what has worked for me. Another thing that you can do is there are like to-go bottle warmers. There is a less expensive one that's kind of just like a thermos with a big plastic cup that you put the bottle in there and you pour water in it so that it warms it up. Or there is an electric one. Those are more expensive. I have one of each linked down below, but I like to just warm my water up before I leave the house and just have it in a thermos, because obviously it's like a hydro flask. Like it can keep water warm for like 12 hours or so. So I just usually warm it up a little bit more than I would typically warm it up, so that once it cools down, it's still warm. But that is what works for me. Obviously comment down below what you have learned and things that you have tested and tried, because I am still learning and growing, but I have definitely messed up a lot. So I wanted to share the tips and tricks that I have learned as a formula feeding mom. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys learned something. Please comment down below what you learned, because I just want to know that I'm not the only one, because I definitely am. I was so clueless going into formula feeding because I just was dead set on breastfeeding. So thank you guys again for coming back to this video, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.